If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. The ocean scares me. I am scared of it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Emily, and today we're counting down our list of the top 10 terrifying photos recovered from the deepest parts of the ocean. Number 10. Hagfish. These creatures are absolutely disgusting. I cannot even tell you. Hagfish are eel-shaped, slime-producing marine fish. They are the only known living animals that have a skull but no vertebral column and are jawless. All living hagfish remain similar to hagfish from around 300 million years ago, aka they are very old. These creatures consume the decaying carcasses of other sea creatures by burrowing into them with tooth-like structures. They are also known as slime eels because of the goop their bodies produce to ward off predators. Scientists estimate that there are 76 species of hagfish, which can grow up to be 16 and 40 inches long. Some live as deep as 5,600 feet below the water's surface, and thank God, because I would never want to come face to face with one. Number 9. Giant underwater pyramids. Off the coast of Portugal in the Atlantic Ocean is an anomaly that experts have been unable to fully understand or explain. Picked up by oceanic GPS technology, measurements of a structure were found, leading researchers to believe that two giant pyramids of ancient times sit underwater thousands of feet below the surface. The GPS data received back has the structures with a base of 8,000 square feet and about 150 feet tall, making these pyramids pretty giant in size. But there's very little explanation into their existence, leaving it all up entirely to speculation. The pyramid has been underwater for about 20,000 years, and considering this is around the time the last ice age, where glaciation was melting from its peak, whatever civilization, human or not, was around before the ice age could be responsible for building the pyramids. While the Portuguese Navy still hasn't determined its origins, many might question why this hadn't been first reported sooner than late 2012. That is suspicious and also scary. Number 8. The Mariana Trench. In the western Pacific Ocean, you will find the deepest part of the sea. The Mariana Trench is deeper than the height of Mount Everest, 43 miles wide, and a massive 1,580 miles long, which is 5 times longer than the Grand Canyon. A certified US national monument, only small areas of the Mariana Trench have been explored. James Cameron reached the bottom in the submersible vessel Deep Sea Challenger in 2012, with the last successful attempt to search the ocean floor coming in 2020, when the Chinese submersible Fenduji made it all the way down. Several new species of underwater creatures have been discovered in the Mariana Trench, with most living on the surface of the ocean floor, including a type of sea cucumber. Explorers will find themselves in total darkness as they continue to understand what else lies in the deepest parts of the ocean and how marine life manages to survive. Number 7. Frilled Shark. Lurking in the deep waters is the frilled shark. With its grisly appearance, the frilled shark is an example of a living fossil, an extant animal whose appearance has not evolved much through the millennia. The term can also apply to creatures that have few or no close living surviving relatives. What's most unusual about this prehistoric looking predator, which is endemic to the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, is the way it reproduces. In other mammal species, embryos are nourished via a placenta. However, frilled shark embryos obtain energy from yolk sacs, and mothers only give birth once their offspring are capable of surviving on their own. Growing up to 7 feet long, frilled sharks primarily prey on squid. They are also known to feed on fish and even other sharks, and this shark looks absolutely terrifying though, so I would not want to get in its way. Number 6. Eel Garden. Again, disgusting. Now, the majority of garden eels live in the Indo-Pacific, but the species is also found in warmer parts of the Atlantic Ocean, including the Caribbean and East Pacific. These small eels live in burrows on the sea floor and get their name from their practice of poking their heads from their burrows while most of their bodies remain hidden. Since they tend to live in groups, the many eel heads growing from the sea floor resemble the plants in a garden. Hence the name. These animals vary greatly in color depending on the exact species involved. The largest species reaches about 47 inches in length, but most species do not surpass 24 inches. These colonies can grow as large as 1 acre in surface area, so next time you think that you're brushing against seaweed, maybe think again. Number 5. First underwater photo. This photo by diver and photographer pioneer Louis-Marie Auguste Boutin, taken in 1899, seems to be the world's first underwater portrait. Accurate details about this photograph are difficult to pin down, but here's what we know for sure. It's not a self-portrait, it's a portrait of the Romanian oceanographer Emil Rakovița and was taken by Louis and Bellner-sur-Mer in the south of France in 1899. However, if you dig around, you'll find a lot of other info as well. Many claim it's a self-portrait that was taken in 1893, that the exposure was 30 minutes long, and Louis suffered nitrogen narcosis as a result, and that it was captured at the depth of 164 feet. Now, the 1893 date seems to be the date that Louis first invented his underwater camera. He took some underwater photos that year, no doubt, but this portrait was most likely taken in 1899 after he developed his crazy underwater flash photography. Now, despite what the facts are, this is just extremely cool. Number 4. Point Nemo. Point Nemo refers to the area of the South Pacific Ocean, around 34 times larger than France, in which marine life is thought to have hardly evolved. Its remoteness and weak ocean currents meant that there are not enough nutrients in the water for more developed, larger wildlife to survive. Now, to picture how just large this zone is, you need to know that the nearest lands to Point Nemo are 2,700 kilometers away. The closest humans to Point Nemo don't actually travel by boat, they are the astronauts in the International Space Station, who fly just under 400 kilometers above the zone. But that's not all. Space agencies are very familiar with Point Nemo. They use it when calculating the trajectory of re-entry during their deorbiting process. It is where decommissioned spacecrafts go to die. For example, when the Russian space station Mir was decommissioned, the oceanic pole of inaccessibility, aka Point Nemo, was chosen as the spot for it to crash to land to ensure the debris generated by its re-entry into Earth's atmosphere didn't cause damage on land. As a result, a spacecraft cemetery has been created over the years around Point Nemo. NASA favors it for its final resting place of the International Space Station, which must be dismantled or reconfigured in 2024, but the US agency also plans to dump the space telescopes currently spearheading space-based astronomy in the region of the South Pacific. Number 3. Titanic. The wreck of the Titanic lies at a depth about 12,500 feet, about 370 natural miles south-southeast coast of Newfoundland. It lies in two main pieces about 2,000 feet apart. The bow is still recognizable with many preserved interiors, despite deterioration and damage sustained hitting the sea floor. In contrast, the stern is completely ruined. A debris field around the wreck contains hundreds of thousands of items spilled from the ship as she sank. The bodies of the passengers and crew would have also been distributed across the seabed, but have since been consumed. In 1985, the wreck was finally located by a joint French-American expedition led by Jean-Louis Michel of Ephemer and Robert Ballard of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. The wreck has been the focus of intense interest and has been visited by numerous expeditions. Controversial salvage operations have recovered thousands of items, which have been conserved and put on public display. Now, many schemes have been proposed to raise the Titanic, including filling the wreck with ping pong balls, injecting it with 180,000 tons of Vaseline, or using 500,000 tons of liquid nitrogen to encase it in an iceberg that would float to the surface. However, the wreck is too fragile to be raised and is now protected by a UNESCO convention. Number 2. The Arch in the Blue Hole. The Blue Hole is a submarine sinkhole with a maximum depth within the hole of just over 328 feet. There is a shallow opening to the sea around 20 feet deep, known as the Saddle, and an 85 feet long tunnel known as the Arch, whose ceiling is at a depth of 181 feet and whose bottom falls away as it reaches the seaward slide to about 394 feet. On the seaward side of the floor, it drops steeply to over 3,300 feet. Now, the Blue Hole is possible for free diving because of the depth directly accessible from shore and the lack of current, but this famous dive site is said to have the most diver fatalities in the world. The Blue Hole itself is no more dangerous than any other Red Sea dive site, but diving through the Arch, a submerged tunnel, is an extreme dive that has resulted in many accidents and fatalities. The number of Blue Hole fatalities is not accurately recorded, but one source estimates 130 divers died during the 15-year period from 1997 to 2012, averaging over 8 per year, and another claims as many as 200. The Ark represents little problem for suitability, equipped and competent technical divers. The main challenge is gas management because any delays or errors at this depth, plus the time to negotiate the horizontal section, will need more than a single tank of breathing gas to do so safely. If the gas is not carefully planned, the diver may lack sufficient gas for the decompression stops or run out of gas altogether. The reason for why the site has such a high number of fatalities are not clearly understood, but just looking at it, I don't know why other people would even want to go there. And coming in at number 1, the giant squid. The kraken is a legendary sea monster of enormous size and is said to appear off the coast of Norway. Now, this is a mythical creature, but there is some truth to it. A giant squid was found on a shore in Denmark in 1853. The giant squid is as elusive as the legend it inspired. It lives so deep underwater that we have limited information about it. However, we know it has the largest eyes of all living creatures, grows up to 59 feet long, and is frequently hunted by sperm whales for food. The weaker giant squid generally flees when confronted by a whale. However, it sometimes fights back when cornered, and it is not unusual to find sperm whales with scars left from their battles with giant squids. It wasn't until the turn of this century in 2001 that humans saw the giant squid for the first time, and only a few years after that when it was finally photographed, making it one of the most elusive on the planet. The giant squid has been long known to exist, but capturing it on film has taken scientists extensive time and voyages to the deepest parts of the ocean where life is difficult to sustain. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 terrifying photos recovered from the deepest parts of the ocean. Which photo creeped you out the most? Again, I think the hagfish are absolutely vile. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and hey, why not like and subscribe while you're down there? I'm your host Emily, and I will see you next time. Peace.